Guys, everyone is wondering what's going on with Ethereum. Are we going into a bear market? Are we about to bounce here? So I'm going to let you guys know what trades I'm taking, what I'm looking at on the charts, where I think the price is going to go next. We're going to look at the latest news. Tom Lee's in a 4.5 billion loss on their position. We're going to talk about why we think that is. And get into some of the on-chain data as well, because some of the things that Tom Lee has been talking about, I don't see on-chain. And the strange thing about that is you can't fake the on-chain, right? It's a public ledger. So I'm very confused about some of the data he's talking about. But let's get into it. Let's start off with Tom Lee's. Obviously, Bitmine has a loss. It might be around 4.5 billion now. I'm not too sure when this was done on the price. But recently, it was a $4.5 billion loss. And we talked about this on my channel, right? We talked about this. I posted back in the 13th of October saying the ETH price last cycle was higher than it is now with no ETF, no BlackRock, no Tom Lee, no Robinhood, no eToro, no DATs, no pro-crypto SEC, no pro-crypto president. Does this not concern you? So that was around the October the 13th. I think the price was in October, August, September, October. It was around here somewhere. So probably somewhere between 4K and 3.8K. Is where I posted that, and shortly after the price completely tanked. So we could kind of see the red sign, the red flags, right? We just had Tom Lee bought. I think he's trying to buy 5% of the supply. So many institutions started buying via BlackRock. Robinhood started to adopt Ethereum. Pretty much everything that we dreamed about last cycle happened this cycle, right? So I think we got Ethereum around $200 last cycle. The SMC bot printed a buy signal shortly later, but we got around $200. And it was everything that's happened now this cycle is why Ethereum was pumping last cycle. Okay, so one thing about crypto is it's heavily speculative, right? It's driven on speculation. You could say a lot of assets are. Look at quantum, right? I think this is why quantum's going to have a really good few years, because the events aren't going to be here for 4 or 5 years. And actually, it's the speculation. Oh, quantum's going to replace the internet. It's going to be a new internet. No, we know IBM are working on a new internet. AI, what can AI do? It's going to replace humans, etc., etc. The space loves speculation. And sometimes, especially in crypto, it's when all of the events arrive that actually it can be a short opportunity, or it can be the top or mark a local top short term. So all of the events that have happened this cycle is why we were so excited about Ethereum last cycle. What's the possibilities? Maybe the banking institutions will use this. Maybe TradFi will use this. Oh, imagine on-chain RWAs. Imagine bringing Pokemon cards on-chain. There were so many different possibilities, and it's really exciting, right? The possibilities. No one knows how big this market could be. And that's why you get these explosive moves. And Ethereum went from $200 all the way up to 4.8K, almost 5K. The difference is this cycle is all the events have arrived. And also Tom Lee is buying more and buying more and buying more. And it's not quite as exciting because you've had the ETF now. You have eToro have adopted it. It's like everything's here. And people expected the market cap to be, people expected the price of Ethereum to be 10K last cycle, let alone this cycle, right? So people were holding their bags here, calling for Ethereum to 10K, and then it had a horrible bear market and went to around $800, right? So when all the events arrive and you're kind of chilling and going sideways, it's very, very concerning. For me especially, right? It might not be concerning for everyone. It's concerning for me, and that's why I posted around that kind of time saying, look, this is concerning, guys. Like, everything's arrived. We're still lower than we were last cycle. Imagine, and I think I said at the time, imagine if all of these people had not purchased Ethereum, because we're talking about billions and billions of dollars of Ethereum that was purchased by these institutions. Where would the price be without this adoption? Like, where would it be? It could have even been 50% down, 60% down, 70% down this cycle. So without all of this adoption, ETH might have actually done something like this, right? It might have actually done something like this, but we had the ETFs come in, we had the DATs, the treasuries come in, right? So that's kind of where we are now. This was a while ago, but ETH breaks below 3,400. officially erasing all of the 2025 gains. That means that most people this year would have made more money on the S&P than they would crypto. And I think we've talked about this before, right? I told you guys I started selling quite early for this exact reason. I could see that the momentum was starting to slow down. We bought Solana in the bear market, $23.94. I started to take some profits in that first euphoric pump, around 190, and then I started to take some more profits off the table here. I'm posting these guys so you can see that I actually did make these calls in my Discord, right? I said pigs get slaughtered. I'm happy with the gains I've made this cycle. If we see more upside here, happy days. If we don't, the stables are secured and short opportunities will arise. And we actually moved into more shorting strategies as Solana continued to trend down. So yeah, we started to take profits off the table. You can see I've been shorting recently. You guys have probably know I've been shorting Ethereum. I posted saying this was at the start of November, saying ETH to drop below 3,000 in November, and it did drop quite low. I'm going to talk about my targets for longs here and buying Ethereum, what I'm doing. But we started shorting. You guys know I've already taken a lot of profits off the table, guys. I think this came down to 2.6 or 2.7k. In the end, so very, very nice trade. Made a lot of money short in Ethereum. I think I've completely taken profits on Ethereum now because we got very close to my target. My target was actually this support line here. You see how we bounced off this, bounced off this, bounced off this. You really don't want to drop below this green line, so I'm happy to take a long position here. I'm happy to maybe buy some spot bags as well. You don't want to drop below this. I'll be very surprised if the bulls let it drop below this level and we don't see a final push up into December into a dead cat bounce. But hey, look, have a strategy for either outcome, because if this breaks, it's not good, guys, and it could break, right? It could break. So we'll come back to that because I'm going to show you my technical targets for the bulls if we see a break to the upside. So Tom Lee was also on CNBC talking about ETH transactions are at all-time high. This was on October the 26th. This also alarmed me because I replied to him saying, "Hi Tom, you mentioned ETH transactions are all-time high. Where are you getting this data from? Because I see it as flat, right?" And if we have a look at the blockchain for Ethereum, so the yellow one is Solana. Then you've got Base, which is the dark blue, and then you've got Ethereum, which is at the bottom. Look how outperformed Ethereum is to against Solana. This is another one of the reasons I bought Solana this cycle. No one was really using Ethereum, like millions and millions of people. I think it's even 10x, guys. I think at the peak it was 10 million users on Solana and only 1 million active users on Ethereum. So I want to go where the people are. I want to go where the money is, and that turned out to be a great decision. We'll talk about that later. So this is active addresses. I don't see Ethereum moving at all, right? I just see it flat. Solana looks like it's in a downtrend, but it was actually in a massive uptrend, right? So it's having a cool down. We are starting to get some sideways action on Solana there. Transactions. Now he said transactions are all-time high. Look at Solana versus Ethereum. I mean, you could say, Solana is some bots in there, but then Base, look at Base. Base is still outperforming Ethereum and trending to the upside a little bit, not quite as much. Ethereum, completely flat for transactions. So we have active addresses flat, transactions flat, fees pretty much flat too, right? Apart from some spikes here and there. So yeah, I don't know what data Tom's looking at. I know Nansen is phenomenal for data, and I have Nansen Pro, so I'm able to see advanced details. So I don't know what he's talking about there, and that's a little bit worrying because the blockchain should be consistent. The data we see on the blockchain should be consistent, and I don't see anything here that looks interesting. So yeah, if you know the answer, if you know the data he's looking at, let me know. That was another red flag. Anson posted in May 2021, Nvidia was $14 and Ethereum was $3,200. In November of 2025, Nvidia is $190 and Ethereum is $3,200. Very, very important. I said unfollow anyone who recommended getting ETH over Sol and who wasn't taking profits at the top. They quite simply don't know what they're doing. Basically, anyone who bought Ethereum this cycle, Ethereum is basically the slow, expensive blockchain, right? Slow and expensive. Now, in life, when have you ever seen anything that's slow and expensive win? I mean, we could look at Airbnbs, fast, efficient, pretty much won, right? We can look at Uber. compared to the taxi industry. Taxi's slow, got to wait for a taxi. There's a middleman. You know, I've got to ring up, got to get in the queue, then I've got to do this. And it's going to be more expensive than an Uber. I can just get an Uber. And they've got ratings, they've got reviews. You know, it's perfect. And Uber One, right? Anything that's normally cheaper and faster is going to win. Especially when you're talking about blockchains, because there's not really any customer service there, right? I used to sell electricity contracts, and you know, a lot of people just want price and how long are you going to get me? How long are you going to get me set up? What's the price? You know, nice and fast, nice and cheap. There's not really any customer service there. There is a little bit if you need to call, whatever. But the blockchain reminds me of that sector that I used to work in, because I just want my transaction to go through fast and cheap, right? And security obviously needs to be paramount as well. But there's not really that customer service element there. So I think the most important thing for a blockchain is going to be speed and price and security. And Ethereum, I don't know. It wasn't there, this bear market, right? There was the competition were coming. Solana was faster. Solana was cheaper. That made sense. That's where retail were going to go. Now, I spent, I think, last cycle, thousands and thousands of dollars on gas fees. And I could see I'm a user of the blockchain. Even for me, I was like, man, it's going to cost me $1,000 just to sell my portfolio. Then it's going to cost me another $1,000 just to buy my portfolio back, right? Because I'm using decentralized exchanges. I didn't want to use centralized exchanges for trust issues or whatever. So I was using decentralized exchanges. It's cost me thousands of dollars just to sell and swing trade, right? I'm a swing trader. And I could see the problem myself. And that's why one of the main reasons I bought Solana. I also put some money into Sui this cycle. And I didn't actually buy any spot Ethereum. And thank God I didn't, right? Because Solana from the lows done a 30x. And I think where was the lows of ETH around $1,000? It pretty much done a 4 or 5x, guys, right? So 30x versus 4 or 5x, absolutely decimated if you bought Ethereum. Now it gets worse, right? Because if you bought Ethereum in 2021, you're now in 2025 not made any gains. For 4 years you held ETH because everyone said hodl. I'm a diamond hand holder. I just hold assets. I don't trade. I don't swing trade. I'm just an accumulator. You know, they all say DCA, DCA, DCA. Well, if you just held ETH for 4 years, you haven't made any money. In fact, you've actually made a loss to inflation. And it gets even worse because now you're expecting to go into a bear market, right? So you bought ETH last cycle here. Let's say 3,400. You held and you held and you held thinking that ETH was going to 10, 15, 20K. And then it looks like it's potentially topped here. You've now got to hold for another cycle, guys, right? You've now got to hold for another cycle. And you're not going to be back to break even for 8 years. So for 8 years, you've potentially not made any money. This is supposing that ETH does what we've just done, right? ETH goes into another bear market. It goes like this. And, you know, you're talking about, it might not be quite 8 years, but maybe 6 years, 7 years of just no gains. And then you've got to factor in inflation. So you're actually going to be a loss when it gets back to this next bull run. And you really need that to scale. And then you're going to be asking yourself, is it just going to top here again at 4 or 5K? So something to take into consideration. The assets you buy in the bear market really shape your life and really change your life. You need to understand the market. You need to understand these protocols. Just because Tom Lee says that Ethereum's going to, some of the projections he's made is 62K. I think he said it's going to be 12K by December, and the price just came down 50%. Some of the projections are absolutely insane, and they're designed to get retail into Ethereum. Now, he was comparing Ethereum to Bitcoin. I think he was saying he's comparing it to Bitcoin at 10K or something, or a Bitcoin at 4K or 5K. And retail don't understand market caps, right? The market cap of Ethereum is absolutely huge compared to Bitcoin when it was at 4K, 3K. Completely different situation. And the retail look at it and go, Bitcoin was once 4K. Maybe Ethereum could be 100K, and obviously not understanding market caps. And Ethereum, if it reached 62K, would be many, many times bigger than Bitcoin. So yeah, be very careful, and you need to really think carefully about the things you're buying in the bear market, because if you go and buy, I don't know, a blockchain in the bear market, it might do a 3 or 4x. That means 4 years, let's say you put 1K into that asset, 3 or 4 years, you might end up with 4K, right? That doesn't excite me personally. Even stocks, I don't even try to buy stocks that can 4 or 5x over the next 4 years. I want to find stocks that can 5 to 10x to 20x, right? So that doesn't excite me personally. I'm not waiting 4 years to make a 4 or 5x, right? If I have $10 million, okay, sure, right? If I have $10 million, I'm probably going to go and buy Netflix. I'm probably going to go and buy Google, right? The more money I have, the less risk I'm probably going to take. Whilst I have low capital, I need, personally for me, I need and like to take higher risk because I want to make more returns. And, if you ended up buying Solana at the bottom of this cycle, you ended up making 1K to 30K. Congratulations if you were taking profits, that is. Or you done 10K to 300K, right? So slightly more risk. In my opinion, Solana was less risk than buying Ethereum because it was faster, cheaper. I could see that retail were going to use it. And also we had a meme coin rally on Ethereum. And a lot of retail couldn't get involved in that meme coin rally. It was heavily ran by whales because of the gas fees, right? And Sol opened up the doors to a whole wave of degens that were finally able to buy meme coins with $10, $5. So we saw a lot of activity from third world countries actually even buy meme coins, right? A lot of activity in Africa, a lot of activity in countries like Indonesia, and some of the lower earning countries were able to participate for the first time, and that's why we saw huge activity rises on Solana as well, right? So the trend is your friend, and I don't think that this is going to go away because Ethereum's fees are still there. I think it's still going to be expensive. I think obviously they're able to get the fees down, but I think it's still going to be expensive for the general user, for the average user. I think it's great for RWAs. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to disappear. I think it's going to be good for people who don't care about paying $100 gas fee, a $20 gas fee, a $10 gas fee. And people who want maximum security. I think it's always going to be there. I just think it's going to struggle with global adoption, TradFi adoption, retail adoption. And for that reason, I am just going to trade it. I will trade it next cycle. I'm trading it now, by the way, guys. I am actually in a long position. Let's talk about my current trade. So I was waiting for this level. I'm going to tell you guys now because I think it's getting front run. I was waiting for this level to enter a long position because of just how long it's been trending up now. And I would be very surprised if we break below this. Also, it brings us down to the SMC bot monthly. And you see here how we bounced off it 3 months in a row. We bounced off it here 3 months in a row. We came down. We couldn't get below. We couldn't get below. We couldn't get below. It's a very, very strong level until it's not, of course. And the SMC bot is going to give a sell signal when we break below that, as it did here, right? And we ended up seeing this capitulation down to 1.3. And then we ended up taking some longs on. We ended up getting long back on Ethereum, right? So I have been swing trading it. And I was looking for another bounce here. Because it is a huge pullback going into December. It is a very big pullback. There's still some Santa rally. There's hope. There's still some Q4 hope. There's still some hope in the air, and it's quite a big pullback going into December. So we've made some money shorting it, but I wouldn't be shorting below this level just yet. I do think things don't go down in a straight line, and I think we'll probably see some sort of a bounce here. How high can it go? Well, this is going to be our first resistance around 3.3k, and then we're going to have some more resistances up here. I'll probably trade it based on Bitcoin and what Bitcoin does. But yeah, we might still come down to this level, and if we do come down to this level, so it's probably going to be around 2.5, 2.46. If we do come down to this level, fantastic, right? I look to take a bigger trade, but I do feel like it might have got front run here because as we started to get close to it, we started to get a lot of buy pressure coming in, a lot of spot buy pressure, and it might get front run here. and we might see a move to the upside. So yeah, I've taken all the profits off my short. Really nice short, guys. Congratulations if you took that short. The guys, we've been absolutely printing on some of these shorts and trades. Big up the chef, big up Fujandru, big up CMDNB, Sui 209%, big up Pabs 220% on that trade. Big up Gino, closed it. So we were short in Zek, 325%. GG's, bro. Big up 91 Old Schooler. Nice gains there on Ethereum short, 330%. Looks like he took profits around 2.7 and it started to reverse. So nice to take profits on that as well. Guys, if you want to join in, see my trades, I'm in 3 long positions at the moment. So I have taken some profits from some shorts. I have got into some long positions. If you want to see my trades, when you jump in the Discord, head over to here, leverage high risk, and you can see my long trades, when I'm closing them, when I'm taking profits, when I'm getting into new long positions. I post all of my trades in here, so you can see all my updates. I do buy alerts when I'm buying altcoins again, and I haven't really bought many altcoins. I'm not planning to buy any altcoins until the bear market. That's one thing we've been pretty good at, right? Is being patient and just waiting for the right time. This is where we bought Solana down here at 23.94. I want to have a big bag of Solana for the bull run. It's a contender against Ethereum. It has many issues, but if they can resolve it, it could be an absolute powerhouse, starting to get a lot of love again recently, hosting a big event, and it's down 10x from its all-time high. Absolutely crazy how much Solana came down. So I want to do this again. I want to be in the right projects that I think are going to 10, 20, 30x. I want to be taking profits in the pumps. We're pretty much just going to try and repeat what we've done. We're going to be patient. We waited for Solana to come all the way down. We didn't froth. Everyone was saying buy the dip, DCA, dollar cost average. Solana's bottomed at 170. Solana's bottomed at 100. Solana's bottomed at 50. Solana's bottomed at 25. And it came all the way down to $8, right? So I'm just being patient. I'm just waiting, and so far we've smashed it, right? We took profits a little bit earlier here, but look, I'd rather take profits slightly earlier than hold and hope. But we dollar cost averaged out, and I sold my entire bag of Solana now, so it's all gone. I can't remember where we sold everything over $200, I think, and I think the last time I checked Solana was maybe I can't remember where Solana is. Let's have a quick look. 137, right? So not too bad so far. So yeah, if you want to join us, guys, and you want to get the SMC bot in your own Discord, so you see this buy and sell, this bot that gives buy and sell indicators. It also gives top signals. So you see the yellow monthly candle. It basically flashes yellow when it thinks you're about to have a correction, or it doesn't have to happen immediately, but usually shortly after. It does indicate that you are going to go into some sort of a downtrend. You see here, this is where we started taking some more big shorts, and then we came down to that SMC monthly support, which was a great area for a bounce. So yeah, really, really cool for signals. And also, when we go into the bear market, guys, we shouldn't really be able to go into a bull run without getting a buy signal from the SMC bot. You see here, buy signal. That was around $2 on the weekly time frame. It gave a buy signal around $2. Buy signal here. We had a buy signal here. And then when we go into another bear market, when it does change, we should get another buy signal to indicate that we're probably going to start going back to the upside, right? So a really, really useful indicator, especially in a bear market, because watch how many people get bearish. When we go into a bear market, watch how many people lose their minds and panic, and it's over, it's dead. And it's really good for snapping you out of that that bearishness, because we're emotional, right? Humans are emotional. When the price is crashing, we want to sell. Look how many people want to sell quantum computing right now, and it's over. What have I done? I've made a mistake. But then when it's going up, what is everyone saying? I didn't buy enough. Why didn't I buy more? Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. It's the same. I love it. I really, really love it, because the new people coming into the space, into stocks, into crypto, they're all going to go through the same process. They're all going to be highly emotional. They're all going to buy the green FOMO. And then we can take profits in the euphoria when they're all frothing. Like, so many people are frothing for Solana here, right? And frothing here again. And we can see it on chain. We can literally see the euphoria on chain, and we can take profits because we've been through this, right? We've learned our lessons. We held too long last cycle. We held too long in the pumps, and we got wrecked. And then we learned our lessons, and then we've managed to level up. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we're never going to fall into that bad habit that a lot of traders do where they always get bearish or they always get bullish, right? Hopefully we can stay level-headed and use our indicators and our data to really nail this, right? Because this is all we need to do. All we need to do is wait for the 89% corrections and then sell in the 1,000, 2,000% pumps. It's very simple when you zoom out, right? But it's a lot harder when you're actually in the moment and all of these Tom Lee saying Ethereum's going to 60K, it's the next Bitcoin. It's a lot harder. And then you've got all the KOLs saying I'm buying here, I'm dollar cost averaging, I think we've bottomed. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But patience is key. And as the great Warren Buffett says, it's just a transfer of wealth from the impatient to the patient. So guys, none of the information in this video is financial advice. Do your own research. Investing in crypto is highly risky. You can lose all of your money investing in anything. So always do your own research first. If you want to join us and you want to see my buy alerts, the next portfolio I'm building, my stocks portfolio I'm building, come over to Twitter, head over to X, search this one, not the top one, and then click on this link here. That's going to take you to a link where you can join us. I also have a beginner to pro course in there as well, guys. So if you're maybe new, maybe you want to get ready for the bear market, maybe you want to get set up for the bear market, you want to really understand the game, how crypto works, psychology, how to trade using Nansen, tracking smart money on chain. If you really want to level up, the course is in there as well. So you can do my beginner to pro course and really get ready for the next cycle, because I think we've got about 6 to 7 months before I probably start buying and building my portfolios again. So we've actually got quite a decent amount of time to get the studies in, start leveling up, make sure we're prepared. There's no guarantees that it's going to be 6 to 7 months. It could be faster, it could be longer. It's usually 12 months from the top. That we bottom. I just worry that there's a lot of people actually looking at that figure right now, right? There's a lot of people expecting a bottom in October 2026. And what happens when everyone's expecting a bottom in a specific month? Sometimes it can get front run, right? So I'm going to be using a lot of our tools and indicators to track that, especially the insiders, the smart money, the cabal, the institutions, the funds. If they start to buy aggressively, that's going to be a major flag for me to start dollar cost averaging potentially. But the SMC bot as well should guide us. So yeah, the course is in there, or if you want to join the Patreon and see join our group and see my buy and sell alerts, all the market updates, whatever. We've got a decent bunch of people that are always online, are always looking for gems, are always chatting in there. Jump in and get involved. It's a monthly fee as well, guys, so you can leave at any time whatsoever. After your first month, if it's not for you, you can just unsubscribe and you won't be charged again. And I wouldn't want you to be in there, right, if you're not finding value. But many of the guys in there have been with us for many years now. So, yeah, we're doing well. Don't forget, like, subscribe on the channel. What do you think is going to go with Ethereum? Do you think we're going to have a big Santa rally? Do you think we're going to break out into a final pump? Or do you think we are just going to have a dead cat bounce and come down here? What's your bottom target for Ethereum as well? I think I've got a rough target. I'm not going to say it here because obviously I want to potentially trade it. I want to potentially trade it. I didn't talk about that, but I'll talk about that on another video. If Ethereum comes down enough, I might trade it. I might trade it on some leverage. If it comes enough in the bear market. And also it's quite easy to time the bottom of Ethereum because it bottoms with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is quite easy to time. Ethereum slightly harder, but it times the bottom with Bitcoin. So there could be a nice trade for Ethereum. Will I buy some spot? I don't know. Maybe. If I think I can make a guaranteed 5x from a relatively low play, I know that Tom Lee is going to be shilling my bags. I know that Tom Lee is in a massive loss. As we go into an Ethereum bear market, if Tom Lee doesn't sell anything and he continues to buy and shill it, it's definitely going to be in my low risk, low returns portfolio option, right? I don't know whether I'm going to execute on that because look how well certain stocks have done, look how well AI has done. I don't know, but it depends how low it comes down. If it comes down crazy low and there's a huge discount there and all of the indicators are suggesting that we've bottomed, I might buy some spot as a hedge. So I might buy some spot as a backup plan and then take a nice big long position on low leverage. And my low leverage long is the play where I'm trying to make the 10, 15, 20x. And then my spot is my backup. In case that trade gets liquidated, then my spot will cover the losses of that liquidation, if that makes sense, right? So there's probably going to be some advanced buy strategies with leverage positions and DCA targets and limit orders as we go into the bear market. And I'm probably going to hedge some spot on all of my buys. I'm probably going to hedge some spot and also have some long positions as well. Yeah, because we've done really well on the leverage trading, right? It's very difficult to get right, but the indicators and the bots and the data is been phenomenal for us for leverage trading this cycle. And I would love to long the bottom, because we ran some figures on long in some of these altcoins where we bought. So we bought Solana at 23, right? And just if I had to put 10k on leverage where I bought Solana, I would have made millions of dollars just with 10k, multiple millions of dollars. And you know, I want to kind of be on that boat next cycle. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest. Until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one.